So question 8 is a word problem, and basically what it's asking is it's telling you the coordinates of two different oil companies and saying that they want to build a pipeline in between them where each company pays for half the pipeline, and it tells you the amount of dollars per kilometer of pipeline and asks you how much will one of these companies have to pay. So let's start with what they tell us about where these companies are. So for Can Oil, they give you the coordinates 11.3 and 3.5. And for Royal Yukon Oil, I'm just going to call that RYO, coordinates are 2.9 and 10.4. So these coordinates are, the question tells us, in hundreds of kilometers, but we can just think of them for right now as x and y coordinates. And I'm just going to label these as, for Can Oil, I'm going to say this is x1 and y1. And for RYO, this is going to be x2 and y2. And this is what we're going to use to plug into one of our equations. So from your notes, they say that for finding the distance between 2 points, finding the distance between, let's say, points A and B, to get this, you just take the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And this formula is just gotten by knowing the Pythagorean theorem, where c squared equals a squared plus b squared. And so if you drew these coordinates on a graph, you could make a right angle triangle and label the sides and get this formula from that. But we're just going to plug in our coordinates given for to figure out the distance between these two oil companies. So I'm going to just call my distance AB for now. And for x2, I have 2.9. And I'm going to subtract x1, 11.3 squared. My y2 is 10.4. I'm subtracting 3.5 and squared. And so we can see that since we're squaring each of these differences, it actually doesn't matter which one you subtract from which, but we'll just keep it like the formula says to keep it straight in our minds. So if we evaluate this out, get AB equals square root of 2.9 minus 11.3 is negative 8.4 squared. 10.4 minus 3.5 is 6.9. That's squared. Negative 8.4 squared ends up being 70.56. And 6.9 squared is 47.61. And let's see, this gives us the square root of 118.17, which ends up being 10 point, just going to round this to 8706. It's more decimals after that, but this is enough for our purposes. All right, so this is the distance between the two oil companies, but we want to find just what half of this is, because that's all that the Can Oil company would need to pay for. So I'm just going to take 1/2 times 10.8706, and that equals 5.4353 about. All right, and so the question tells us that the units we've been given are in hundreds of kilometers. So this is equal to 5.4353 times 100 kilometers. And that's the same as 543.53 kilometers. So that's the distance in kilometers for half of the pipeline, which is what CanOil would have to pay for. So we just take that value in kilometers, and we know our conversion to dollars. They told us that $26,000 per kilometer is the price. So I'll just set that up that way so that my kilometers cancel out when I multiply this. So multiplying 543.53 times $26,000 gives us, if we round to the nearest $100,000, gives us $14,100,000. All right, so that's the answer for the cost of construction for CanOil Company to the nearest $100,000.